Satnam. Hi Astro friends and family. My name is Karine. I'm a Kundalini yoga teacher and also astrologer, and I work on Lada's channel. And today we are going to talk about career and money for 12 signs in 2023. And remember, this is a general reading, so everyone has a different chart. So if you want a specific one for yourself, you can check the link below and you can find the information how to book reading with me. So before we start, just a quick introduction how I read the chart and also how you can use this reading. So I use tropical zodiac and the whole sign house system, and I apply Vedic astrology techniques in all my readings. So please don't use any unequal house system for this reading. Traditionally, people use sidereal zodiac and in Vedic astrology. But Ernst Wilhelm, the teacher that I learned from, if you're interested in astrology, you must have heard of this person. And he stopped using sidereal zodiac for Vedic astrology. I think it's in 2005, because he tests tropical and sidereal for all the Vedic techniques. And tropical trumps every time. So that's why he stopped using sidereal for Vedic astrology, I think at least 10 years ago. So this is where and how I learned from him, and this is also how I'm going to do my readings. And usually I use planetary dristis, like each planet, they have a specific eyesight, and when they shoot the eyesight to different places, that also sends the influence to the houses. But because the topic today is about career and money, so I will only mention the aspect, the dristi that is related to this topic. So not every aspect will be mentioned. So Jupiter will be in Aries from 21st of December and will stay in this sign until 16th of May in 2023. So that means right now, Jupiter is very soon to entering into Aries and will stay there for at least 5 months. And then Jupiter will enter Taurus from 17th of May, and then we will stay there for a year. So until 25th of May 2024. And Saturn will enter in Pisces on 7th of March and will stay there until 13th of February 2026. So almost 3 years time. But in between, Saturn will enter into Aries for a brief time and then will go back to Pisces. So approximately 3 years time. And so this reading is good if you look at from your rising sign as well as your moon sign. In Vedic astrology, apart from the birth chart, they also have this moon chart. So it means that we read everything from the moon's perspective, moon's placements. So your moon signs become your ascendant, your first house. And so you can look at the transits from the moon, and it's called Gochara in Vedic astrology. That's the specific term for that. And you can also, if you like, you can also turn your charts, like your birth chart, and read from your moon placements. Particularly if you're over 50 years old, it's good to look at from your moon chart, because all the planets will be mature during that time. For example, Rahu matures at the age of 42 and Ketu matures at the age of 48. So all the planets and the 2 points, they will be mature. And if you read from your moon, you will also feel more consciously and emotionally connected to the prediction, because moon rules our consciousness and emotions. And this reading, it's not so much about looking at from your sun sign, but if you like listen from your sun sign, you can do that as well. Now, there are several rising signs for next year. They are quite important. They are having a big year next year in 2023. So like Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Pisces, and Leo. They all have planets go through their first house, particularly Aries and Taurus. These two signs, they have planets go through their 12th house as well as their first house. So they're having the beginning and also the ending happening at the same time. So this is like big year. Why first house is very important is because when planets transit in the first house, it's the most important transit in life. The first house rules you, your path in life, your identity, who you are. The planets that are transiting through the first house are going to have a profound impact on your growth. And the planets that move through the first house is going to make you who you are, make you become who you're meant to be, and also lay out the path for you. And because the ascendant is always about learning to becoming the best version of you along the path. So when planets move through the first house, each planet will do what it needs to do to help you to become better in your life. For example, different planets, they have different mission. Particularly when planets move through your first house and go retrograde, becomes extremely important. That's why Jupiter and Saturn, when they transit your first house, is always important, because these two planets, they always they go retrograde when they transit in one sign. Venus, Mercury, and Mars, they are fast-moving planets, but when they transit your first house and go retrograde, they become extremely important. Now, Libra. So Libra rising or Libra moon, Saturn will travel through your 6th house and Jupiter will move through your 7th house from now, December, until mid-May next year. And from mid-May 2023, it will stay there in your 8th house and will stay there for 1 year. So start with Saturn. So Saturn transit in the 6th house brings delays, extra work, responsibilities. And Saturn also slows down the process in the matters that are related to the 6th house. And it also brings blockages and resistance, but it also gives structure, order, and discipline. And when Saturn transit a house, it actually brings some kind of reality check, and you bring some deeper understanding about the topic that are related to the 6th house. For example, you might ask yourself, are you being responsible for your health? 6th house rules health, lifestyle, and work. Are you being responsible for your everyday routines, activities? How does your lifestyle serve you? And what's your relationship with nature? Because Saturn is the planet that's related to nature. And Saturn also brings reality check about your work situation too. Like, is it worth of my time? Is it worth of my energy? And how does my work serve me? So Saturn transit in the 6th house is another like critical transit when it comes to Saturn's cycle. We mentioned that Saturn's cycle, the beginning is in the 10th house. And then when they travel to the 6th house, that's another critical house. And it's not related to career and money, but it's so much to do with your health. So health will be the big topic under this influence for almost 3 years. And this is the key time for you to make a long-term change about your health, to develop your health. And also whatever changes that you make during this time is going to make a long-term impact on your longevity and also your health condition. So that was just a quick like heads up for what's coming, what to expect. But back to work and career. 6th house rules daily routines, daily activities, lifestyles, habits, work, and health. When Saturn transit the 6th house, it's going to bring tests and challenges to those topics. And it requires stricter commitment, repeated efforts, and extra efforts to do a good job in regards to 6th house matters. And 6th house rules work. So if you're working in the medical field, in healing, holistic healing, alternative healing, or medicine related, health related, pharmaceutical, pets, or service to others, service to the society, your work will go really well during this transit, and you can even get recognition during this transit, but it might be delayed. And Saturn requires extra efforts and commitment, so you will have to put in a lot of efforts into what you do and try to do many times. You have to try many attempts in order to uphold, maintain your status. And during this transit, the authority figures, co-workers may overlook your work, and you will need to work extra harder in order to be seen, to be recognized for what you do. And there might be some delayed recognition and promotion that I mentioned earlier. And work can become like a source of stress and frustration, like lots of work responsibilities, duties, and colleagues or your employees might become more negative, draining, and unpleasant. And they might even become a burden, as you might need to take on more responsibilities for them. And the work environments might become more difficult. So pay attention to that. And when Saturn transit in the 6th house, it also raises the question if you want to stay in the current job, especially when the coworkers are not very supportive, and the boss is not acknowledging your best efforts, work can become a source of stress and frustration. So depression is likely to happen during this transit. And you might find yourself seriously questioning why you're doing what you're doing. So like I said in the beginning, because Saturn brings the reality check. So you might ask yourself what you're doing this, why you're doing this. So when Saturn transit in the 6th house, it's a time for major adjustments regarding your job. As a result, there can be a change of job. 6th house also rules lifestyle. With Saturn transit in the 6th house, you may feel overburdened with pressure of life. Like I said, your work environments, colleagues can become like overpowering, oppressing. In the extreme cases, the stress from work or stress from life can cause illness or imbalanced situation for the body and the mind. So pay attention to that. But 6th house is Mercury's house, and Saturn and Mercury, they are good friends in Vedic astrology. So even though the topic of 6th house will be tested and challenged, as long as you follow Saturn's rules, like perseverance, patience, hard work, doing things step by step without cutting corners. After Saturn's transit for almost 3 years, the final results will be favorable for you. Now, Jupiter will move through 7th house from December to mid-May. So in Vedic astrology, each planet has their significator house. And 7th house is Jupiter's key house, because this is the house of co-creating something with someone. It's the house of creating your dynasty, creating the great thing that can last for a long time. And usually it means babies, because the baby is like the products that you create that can last for a long time. But it can also be something else. And it can also mean that you are embracing someone into your life. It can also mean that you're being embraced by the public, because 7th house is the public house. You're embraced by the public, by the things that you do, the things that you want to create and can benefit the society. Especially for someone who has any work to do with the public, or someone who is creating their dynasty. When Jupiter transit the 7th house becomes really, really important, because that's the critical time for the dynasty to unfold and manifest for them. But it can be both. You can have babies, you can also have your dynasty at the same time, your business. And Jupiter is a very creative planet. So people with strong Jupiter in the natal charts are usually very, very creative. They have this ever-flowing creativity. They're always creating something, creating food, creating articles, creating business ideas, creating solutions to problems. They have visions and ideas. So when Jupiter transit in the house of creating something that you can leave behind, the dynasty, something that can last forever, either you need a partner to create a baby, or you just start creating something that the something can impact many people or the public. So one of the manifestations that you can expect when Jupiter transits the 7th house is pregnancy. But if having a baby is not your focus right now, you may have some inspiration that you want to create something or develop something. For example, when I had Jupiter transit in my 7th house, I started working with Astrolada. So she's a high profile and very important astrologer on the internet. And then she came into my life. So we started creating videos together on her YouTube channel. And as long as YouTube doesn't crash, these videos will last for a long time. And at the same time, I'm also a Kundalini yoga teacher. So I became more active making Kundalini yoga videos online, creating things. So creating all these videos that can last for a long time and impact the public. So when you have Jupiter transit in the 7th house, you can also notice that you want to create more. And other things about when Jupiter transit in the 7th house is that 7th house rules contracts, partnerships, working with other people, including other people into your life, bargaining, trading, deal making, matchmaking, forming alliances. And Jupiter brings expansion, growth, luck, and blessings in those subjects. So any kind of relationships will go well during this transit. Your business partnerships, your relationship with your siblings, any one-on-one relationship, they can become like a source of joy or source of help for you during this time. And you can also see some growth in your clientele, allies, and collaborations. And 7th house rules one-on-one communication, relationship. So it can also mean if you're a coach or mentor, you can also, you might also want to start your business in counseling or consultation during this transit. So this is also the things that you can create and manifest and impact the public, impact many people, and leave behind for a long time. So you can notice that different things that you want to create really depends on the whole chart and where you're at in your life. And 7th house is associated with the negotiation, bargaining, trading, arranging things. Your negotiation skill will improve during this transit, and your skill of making things happen, arrangements will improve. And if you're in the business field, it brings more opportunities for expansion and growth. And during this transit, you can also notice that you may want to put yourself out there a bit more. Your visibility improves during this transit as well. And Jupiter usually gives many in the house that it's in, so your interaction with other people will increase. And Jupiter can also bring more opportunities to work with other people, to collaborate. And it can also increase your inclination to collaborate with other people, which is good if you're the type of person who likes to work alone. Maybe this is a time for you to expand yourself and try to learn to work with other people, because 7th house is the house of co-creating something. So you need somebody to create something with you. And 7th house is the public house, so the house of others. You can also receive more positive attention, praise from others during this transit. And then Jupiter will move through your 8th house from mid-May 2023, and then will stay there for a year. 8th house rules other people's money, other people's resources, your spouse's money, business partner's money, joint resources with your business partner or your spouse, mutual assets. It rules the money that you get from the service that you provide. So if you work in a commission-based job, then that's 8th house thing. So when Jupiter moves through your 8th house, it brings luck to your spouse's money situation. So perhaps your spouse wins a lottery or make money from their investments. Or if you have a business partner, especially Jupiter transit in the 7th house, there might be more opportunity to make a connection or form a new business relationship with another person. So if that happens, then it carries on when Jupiter transit in the 8th house. The partner, the business partnership, collaboration can bring more, they contribute more to your mutual assets. Or maybe they just provide their resources for you to use. And during this transit, you can also expect some financial returns coming from other people. For example, if someone owes you money, they might pay you back during this transit. Or you can get tax return, insurance claim. And you can also expect some financial support from your spouse or your business partner. For example, your spouse financially supports you during this transit if you are struggling financially, or someone provides you their resources, like I said, for you to utilize and which you can benefit from. Not necessarily money, it can be money, but it could be their, like for example, their platform, their client base, their resources, their customers, their channel, something like that. So basically, during this transits, you can rely on help from other people, materially, financially, and emotionally. 8th house is also so much to do with the emotional strength. So when Jupiter transit the 8th house, Saturn transit in the 6th house is also looking at the 8th house. So that means Jupiter and Saturn, they're both influencing your 8th house. So the amount of money, the amount of supports will be reduced because Saturn is sending the negative impact towards the 8th house. You will still experience some luck, but just not that powerful. And sometimes there can also be some complication challenges and obstacles to overcome when it comes to the 8th house. For example, you might inherit something, but the process might take a long time, because when Saturn shooting the influence to the 8th house, it also brings delay. So you might get something, but it might take a long time. Someone might pay you back the money that they owe you, but it might take a long time as well. Okay, so that was a brief review about your career and money in the upcoming year. I wish you a year of abundance, support, love, wisdom, and guidance. And if you need a personal reading, you can find the information in the link below. Thank you.